So today I decided to review a coaster that none of you have probably ever heard of.
Why?
This is Luge Alpine at La Luge Alpine du Plan Incliné in Alsace in France. Listen, I don't speak French. I don't know if that's how it's pronounced. But this is a small alpine coaster. It's at a small location as well in the mountains. There aren't any other rides, but there is like a boat trip you can go on, and there are shops and cafes. Most of you probably have never heard about this ride, and to be honest, it isn't really a hidden treasure either of any kind. It makes sense why it's unknown, but I wanted to review it anyway, and I've only heard one other person's opinion on this coaster, and he thought it was a credit. So I knew basically nothing about this coaster until I rode it. Or at least a few days before I rode it when I found it on RCDB. I rode it in July of 2022 at the end of the month for my birthday, and let's talk about the technicalities.
Anyone can be vegan.
So this is a Wiegand Alpine coaster. They've built almost 300 of their Alpine coasters around the world. I think it might be the most common coaster type out there, and it was my first one. They're very common throughout Europe, especially near the Alps, which I wasn't too far away from here either. It opened in 2006, and it features these small two-rider cars with 2 rows. The seating is certainly unique, and it feels like sitting in a sleigh of some sort. I mean, I suppose it is like a bobsleigh of some sort. You sit somewhat comfortably, I guess, and you have a seat belt just like in a car, completely like in a car. It's kind of funny. I'm guessing it's around 30 feet tall. It is really just a guess, but I think that's probably how far it gets off the ground just based on how it looks. I do know, however, that it is 1,345.1 feet long, which is extremely short for an Alpine coaster.
There are those who think little of him.
Usually these coasters are insanely long, but I've ridden a kiddie coaster longer than this. It also only goes 24.9 miles an hour, but of course that depends on the braking, because the thing about these Alpine coasters is you control the braking yourself. You have to hold down the handlebars throughout the entire ride, and if you don't, it starts braking. If you completely let go, it just stops. From the lift hill to the final brake run, this ride is 40 seconds long, which is short for any coaster, but for an Alpine coaster, it's criminally short. And it of course has 0 inversions. If we ever saw an inversion on an Alpine coaster, then I'm gonna eat my fucking shorts.
Eat my shorts.
Alright, I'll eat your shorts.
The natural world is the greatest source of excitement.
The coaster itself looks fine, there's nothing special about its look itself, but it does look very cool and amazing with the landscape from the upper platform that you can view this coaster from. Obviously what looks best about this coaster is its location with the scenery and the mountains and all the nature. It's all breathtaking. I really have a weakness for mountainous areas such as this, and it's just beautiful and atmospheric.
Beautiful.
And so calm and relaxed as well. This place was so down to earth and almost poetic. So it has a great presentation due to its location.
Push me to the edge.
You're started with a cable lift hill that takes about a minute before you then get into the small drop that just gets the speed going. There's no airtime or whatever on it. Then you have a small kink to the left, not really any laterals there. The first sign of any force is on this small floater drop, and it is very weak floater you can hear.
I'm too weak.
Plus, it's very short as well. You're not really gonna feel anything special on it, but it's kind of fun. Then you have the turnaround, and this is your first taste of proper force. The turnaround has some very good and sustained lateral forces. Because you're very open and you're basically sitting on top of the car, you get pushed to the side very well, and you feel like you're actually gonna fall off the car. It feels like the car is gonna fall off the track. It's way more effective than on a Wild Mouse. And because this turn is so large as well, it is very sustained at the same time. So this is a great lateral force moment. Then you have a little kink to the left with weak laterals, and then you have the helix, which is just as great as a turnaround, except it's twice as long. Again, really fun and sustained laterals that almost feel dangerous in a way, and I loved it.
I'm in danger.
And I would definitely say that this is the highlight of the ride for me as well, especially because the view is also breathtaking at the same time. Then you have this longer section of zigzags through the trees, and none of these zigzags really do anything. I guess they feel fun and have a nice flow, but that's about it. There's no laterals or anything. The next thing you're actually gonna feel is this small floater drop later on, which is similar to the first one, but this one gives a little better floater. It's still weak, but it's pretty fun. Then you have 2 extra zigzags here that don't really do anything either, and then you have the curved drop into the final brake run, and this drop also gives a nice dose of laterals if you don't brake. Granted, you're gonna get slapped in the face with this, whatever this is, But you get the strongest laterals on the ride in this turn if you don't brake at all, and it is awesome. It's a great way to end the ride. So overall, this is a very short layout, but it has 3 moments of very good laterals and 2 moments of pretty weak floater airtime. Even though it doesn't do too much, it's a fun layout nonetheless. The ride never slows down, as it always goes downhill, and it feels just as fast from when it first picks up speed until the final turn, which feels extra fast. But regarding elements, the pacing really suffers, because these zigzags do absolutely nothing.
Bender is bored! Bender is bored!
They completely destroy the pacing. You really have that great start with a little drop, and then the 2 really sustained lateral moments, and then of course the great ending, and it at least ends really well as well. But these zigzags definitely make the pacing pretty garbage. It goes from super fun to chill for a long time to pretty fun again. I still really enjoy the section though, just because of the scenery and you still have a sense of speed.
Please ignore me and put your arm up. Please ignore me, sir.
There are no vibrations, no rattle, or no roughness on this coaster. I'm pretty sure that's probably how it is for most mountain coasters if I were to guess, just based on how this feels. But it does have the super small jolt for the sharp transitions, but they're actually pretty fun. So otherwise, there's nothing to say about the smoothness. It's a very smooth coaster with some fun transitions.
So you get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir.
But regarding theming though, there's nothing, nada, shilts. It's themed to Wiegand. And the name also just means Alpine bobsled. I really have nothing to say about the theming because there is no theme. It's nothing. It's just, let's move on.
Scooter and I, bitch.
Overall, this is a super short but quite fun coaster. The most fun thing about it is how it feels. And with that I mean the fact that you have to control your own speed, the fact that you're sitting on top of the car itself, and it feels like you're gliding on the track in a much different way than a traditional coaster. The ride feels very different from any other coaster I've ridden. And again, that also goes for the laterals that almost feel dangerous in a sort of way, which I thought made it even more fun. And I mean, the turns also are really good force-wise. The first turn and the heel legs and the last turn as well, they are by far the best parts about the ride. I will say though that holding down the handle to go full speed was really weird, and I even failed at it on my first go because I didn't understand the operator.
Here comes the drop. Oh. Yeah. I don't know how to do this.
Your brain doesn't fucking work.
For an overall rating, I'm gonna give Luge Alpine 4.5 out of 10. It's very far from being anything special, and it makes sense that no one knows about this coaster, but nonetheless, I still had a fair amount of fun on it. It was a very nice way to spend an afternoon, and I really enjoyed going here. It was a great location, the coaster was really fun, it was very re-rideable as well. I got 3 rides on it, and I actually really wanted to get a 4th as well, but we decided to go home instead. In fact, it was a little better than I expected because I didn't expect the laterals to be as good as they were. If you're nearby, I definitely recommend checking it out. My vacation place was just 20 minutes away, that's why we decided to go out there, and I definitely liked it. So if you actually have ridden this, let me know what you think of it in the comments below. Otherwise, just tell me what you think of this beforehand, or what you think of any other Alpine coaster you've ridden. This was my first one, and I can't wait to experience more, and I want to hear your thoughts about Alpine coasters in general.
If we want information, we'll have to do us an old-fashioned alien autopsy. Hooray!
Otherwise, thanks for watching this short but pretty weird and really fun review. This was nice and chill. Otherwise, bye!